Welcome, my trailblazers. This is an interview at USCAP 2026, and I have experts from Hamamatsu. Welcome.
Learn about the newest digital pathology trends in science and industry. Meet the most interesting people in the niche and gain insights relevant to your own projects. Here is where pathology meets computer science. You are listening to the Digital Pathology Podcast with your host, Dr. Alexandra Zhurov.
I have Robert Moody with me and Fumiya Fuji. How are you guys today?
Well today, thank you.
Good, thanks.
So the theme of the conference is making connections, and in digital pathology, it is very important because whoever tried to embark on the digital pathology journey, you know that it's not just a scanner, even though Hamamatsu is a company that provides scanners, but it's a lot broader. And we're going to be talking about making connections from our guest perspective. But before we do that, let's start with you guys. Let's give the trailblazers a little bit of background, who you are, what's your expertise in Hamamatsu, so that we know what perspectives we're going to be evaluating today.
I'm Robert Moody. I'm the Strategic Accounts Manager, which essentially means I manage partnerships within Hamamatsu and for digital pathology specifically.
Yes, I'm Fumiya Fuji. I'm Business Development Manager at Hamamatsu Corporation, US. But I transferred from Hamamatsu headquarters 2 years ago. So I'm connecting company to company, meaning like a US entity to Hamamatsu headquarters. That's my job.
This is going to be a super important perspective because the headquarters of Hamamatsu is in Japan. So Japan and US, I don't know if we could pick two more different countries, and yet the connection is necessary to make digital pathology happen. So Robert, I'm going to ask the first question to you. Why does it matter to have these partnerships? We know it's not just the scanner, but why does it matter?
Well, I think for those of us that have been through a digital transformation, we realize that the often overlooked part of it is the connections, as you said. It's the integration. And the only way we can do that really is with partnerships. Scanners happen to be the first part of a digital workflow, but it's critical to have software and IT involved very early.
Mm-hmm. And is it more important now than it was before, or is there more awareness? Do we have more people embarking on this journey? To me, at the beginning, it was which scanner. Now it's more about how do we want to set up this workflow? Do you see it that way as well?
I do. I think it was always important.
Mm-hmm.
I think we learned a lot from those of us and
not doing it.
From not doing it. We've had a number of people that have done this at scale now, and that's where the learning happens, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as I said, the scanner is the first component in that workflow, but it's certainly not the only. And we realize it's not the most difficult part for the deployment. So these integrations have always been important, but we're now realizing that they need to be thought about early.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned people did it at scale. They learned their lessons, but you are now those who are initiating those partnerships with your partners. Why is it important that the vendors, the providers of different digital pathology components work on this and not the clients? You just said the clients or the digital pathology trailblazers, the centers, the labs, they figured it out, but now kind of the shift is happening towards you.
I think that's right. I think it's a value-add service, frankly. Mm-hmm. It helps to bring more people to the table so that the deployment can be seamless. The other truth is, at Hamamatsu, we always want to think about our customer's customer. In this case, that would mean the patient. And the patient benefits most from having us bring these things to the hospitals. And the reason for that is 60% of the hospital beds in America are at small regional hospitals. And so in order to be able to deploy into those arenas, we need to do it. We need to do so with partners.
Mm-hmm. Like when somebody comes to you to look for the scanner, does it matter who your partners are? Do they ask you about the partners? How do you communicate this option that there is a workflow, that there's a partnership? Do they ask you for specific partners?
It's an interesting question, but truthfully, by the time someone's come to talk to us about scanners, they're also probably talking to people about software. So they usually tell us what they would like to do. Okay. In most cases, partners of ours will bring us into the fold after they've already initiated conversations. Mm-hmm. So whereas I think maybe 5 years ago, it was probably scanner first and decide what the software is second, I think that paradigm has shifted.
Yeah, so in the first place, they don't requiring scanner itself. They are requiring solutions. That's the changing last 5 years dramatically, yes.
Oh, interesting. And I want to highlight this word solution, because it's no more just like one part of the workflow. It's a digital pathology solution, because it's a full thing that needs to happen before it can give the result, that give the digital image be used in the labs in general. Fuji, question to you. Now, you have been working in the US for 2 years now?
Yeah, but before that, I was working in Japan 16 years. And then most of the time I spent for the digital pathology, yes. Yeah.
Before we do the digital pathology deep dive, what are the main, is there one main difference, cultural difference, or one main thing that you thought, oh, this is so different, even though you probably watched US movies? Because I'm from Poland and I watched this, and let me tell you a funny thing that I saw when I came to Pennsylvania and I looked at these houses. I'm like, they're from the movies. So it was just funny. Did you have something like that? Cultural person?
Yeah, I don't have big cultural shock actually. However, I've seen American people tend to be people likes efficiency. That's my impression. So people know about it. So they are eager. Some people really eager to accept innovations, such as new technologies. But some people really want to have really good efficiency. That's my impression. I don't know where it's come from actually, but I've seen that.
Efficiency. Okay, so that's interesting. Because before this interview, we were talking about different systems, how we want to be efficient. I wasn't that efficient with setting up the camera, to be honest. So, okay, so that's something cultural. Do you have any differences, or did you notice any differences in the needs of the Japanese customers versus needs of US customers?
Yes, I think it's just matter of the adaptation of digital pathology speed. So obviously US is... Europe is much earlier adapter in terms of digital pathology, and the US comes next, and then accelerate the adaptation speed quickly, right? Japan is starting earlier. However, the motivation is not that high for the diagnostic purposes. More currently Japan is for archiving or the consultation. That's the main purpose. Now they towards changing to diagnostic world. However, it takes long time, and then this adaptation comes from, I believe, governmental support is the big influence in Europe, Japan. So that's huge difference from states. States has, of course, ROI is key factors people think, but not strong governmental support. That's my understanding at least. That's a big difference from Japan and the States.
I'm thinking how it is in Europe. I don't think there is a mandate to do it. But definitely, it depends on the country, because UK is very advanced. They have national initiatives.
Right.
Poland, not
Poland, not really. Yeah, but Nordic countries generally.
Exactly.
Yes.
Nordic countries, because of the remote areas.
Yes.
So it depends on the country. So interesting.
Canada's a fast adopter as well.
Exactly. And from the digital pathology history, this is where the telepathology services started. It was Norway and Canada, because it was not possible to have pathologists evaluate inside. So basically, because of the necessity. So this is about the customers, about how digital pathology is implemented across countries. But how does your experience help the interconnectedness within Hamamatsu? Because the company is Japan, the realities for digital pathology are different in different countries. How, inside of the company, in your team, with your colleagues, how do you think this experience is going to translate into being more connected?
Yep. I think 10 years ago, we tried to sell or market the product each regions. We tried. But now it's the moment, talking about global. So now Rob is talking to European colleagues a lot, talking to Japanese colleagues a lot, to sharing, and also we learned a lot from European team, and then we sometimes using their materials, referring the materials, or vice versa. So it's just talking about globalization, and same thing for the partnership. So we are talking about globally, who is a good partner, who can be our good partners, things like that. That's daily basis discussion for us now, global discussion.
I think this being connected within a company so that you guys know how your product is going to serve the world, basically, and then having connections with outside partners is going to very much accelerate the adoption. Because the people who are already doing digital pathology, they kind of know all the players. But when a new lab is entering the space, maybe there is going to be a regulation in the country where like a lot of people have to do it at the same time. You having your connections is going to be crucial to speed up, accelerate the adoption. So I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited about the topic of the conference, to make connections. I want to personally make a lot of connections as well. Before we finish, I want to ask one more question to both of you, actually, because partnerships begin on paper. How do they actually happen in real life? Like, what's the process? How do you just start a partnership for real, other than just, signing or designing something on paper?
I think we've shifted a bunch, just even within Hamamatsu, in that it did start on paper and then it was sort of left to people to execute. The way we run partnerships now is we have the people that are going to be doing the execution phase as part of the design phase. And so I think it's mission critical to have the people that are going to be actually putting these products together as bundles and creating full-blown solutions for customers. They have to be at the table at very, very early inception. So what does it look like? First, you have to build it before you can actually tell somebody about it and get excited. Get people excited about it.
You have to have it working in a real lab. Yeah. So it's a lot of effort and a lot of hands-on work.
In coordination, because when we're talking about building a solution, remember, we're talking about 3, sometimes 4 different companies, right? And so it's not just plugging things together that all come from Hamamatsu. It's working with all of our partners to make sure that things work together in an integrated way. Because if any one component fails you, the whole system breaks down.
And it's not the first time we are talking about this together, because 2 USCAPs ago, we had a video on like a full workflow for digital pathology workflow with a partner. And this partner is going to join us in the next episode of the podcast. So anything you want the trailblazers to take away from our interview and from the conference, because many of you are now at USCAP. So if you are here, join us at booth 312, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Any specific takeaways?
I think the show floor could be really informative for everybody, not just our booth, but because there's so much digital pathology this year at USCAP. It's a great way to understand how these companies are interconnected, and you'll find connectivity between all of us. I think we're more working as a team together in this industry rather than as individual companies with individual products that are competing with one another. Everybody's working together, and so you'll want to visit everybody.
Yep. I think, again, scanner is one of the essential component for digital pathology. And then you will see...
There's no digital pathology without scanner.
Exactly. So, and then obviously you will see on the exhibition floor, you will see some or several our scanners with partners, which is promising, showing some data, etc. So all partners with Hamamatsu happy to discuss in some conversations about future deployment or future goals, motivations. That's we will see next 3 days.
And I know you guys as a team have meetings scheduled with other teams, and people from different booths are going to see each other's solutions to start these conversations, which is, I think, the next phase of digital pathology, because historically, and there's still a legacy of that, of different formats, of not everything being compatible, I think we very much collectively want to overcome that hurdle and be connected digital pathology. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are at USCAP, the experts are going to be available at booth 312 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or in other places because they're going to be connecting as well. Thank you so much for listening, and I talk to you in the next episode.